Okay, the next on the agenda is discussion and consideration of the city manager's severance agreement.
Pat, can't see you to raise my hand up, so I have to holler at you.
Well,
I make a motion that we board this for a while. We just got this Monday. We had time to look at it. What is that? I'd like to board it for about April or May.
No.
Gives us time to look at it.
I've done signed the paper.
Well, we've got a motion,
Oh.
so is there a second on the motion to table it?
I'll second that. We do need to do some discussion on this, but there is a few mistakes in it. Some places it says her, and some places it says him. And I think it needs to be discussed.
What do you think, what'd you say, John?
I mean, that could be easily corrected, but continue.
There is some, I think the board needs some input on this. I mean, I know this was just drew up without any input of the board. And that's why I'm seconding to put it to the workshop.
Call for vote for the work table.
Call for a vote to table this?
Alderman Mindy Fleshauer,
No.
Alderman John Gibson,
No.
Alderman Jim Gillum, Alderman Stephen McLean,
Yes.
Alderman Darby Patrick,
No.
Vice Mayor Teresa Monk,
No.
Mayor Pat Stillwell.
No.
Okay.
So it passes.
The motion
Well,
to
the
table.
motion-
Continuing discussion.
Yes, yes, sir.
So I mean, this is something that I made the motion last time to request Mr. Pease to draw up. And I have talked to him about this and looked at quite a few examples from MTAS. And something that I think it can't be overstated enough, that this is an industry standard. You know, there's plenty of examples of states or of city managers within the state of Tennessee that have a severance agreement. It's something that protects the employee. It's something that gives the other employees a kind of a security net, but also a blanket to separate politics and a workforce. And I think that's something that, you know, even more, you know, anybody that could be fired by this board, I'd agree with you and say that they should have a severance agreement. If they can be fired by the board right now, they should have some type of protection for politics. And currently, that's only Mr. Housewright.
Maybe anybody in the city can be fired by the board.
Not
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 anymore.
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 If you
Not
fire the
anymore.
city manager, then you can fire anybody in town.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm
So
saying.
really,
It's a
they all
barrier
can
between
be
the
fired
two.
by the board.
Right. It's a barrier between the two. It's one that keeps the politics out of the workforce. So
And-
that
And the politics is in this one with Mike Housewright.
I mean,
And
it's-
it's a stop
recruiting
it.
tool for whenever the time comes he moves on to greener pastures. It's a good recruiting tool for the next person that will come
Exactly.
in.
And if you look at the way that we kind of have treated our city manager for the last 3 years, I think we'd be a little amiss to think that we're just going to have an easy time to replace one, because who would want to come with no security and to know that they can be, you know, brought out in the public once a month as many times as wanted to have to fight for their life. So it's not something that is, you know, is remotely a bonus or anything like that. This is literally just a piece of security that, in Wynn's notice, that we won't just fire him for arbitrary political reasons. So with that, I make the motion that we sign the piece of paper as written tonight.
And I second that, because he has been harassing.
Well,
There's some more discussion
that,
to go on
that's
here.
true, that's true. Sorry, I jumped the gun on
The
that.
discussion that I have about it is, I'm not against it, but there is a few things that I don't understand. City administrator, as it says,
Go to your paragraph.
Section 2, duties and authority, which we all know Mike has 2 job titles. He's our city recorder and city manager. This only addresses city administrator.
He is,
This would only be for the city administrator position.
So that's all this is for. It's not as his
It's
whole
not as to
job.
the city reporter's job.
Okay, and another thing that's been questioned is, you set your own hours. You know, most people that work for a town or whatever has somewhat of a set hours, which I know you have, just like tonight, the meeting, but,
Let me clarify. It does have language to speak that I set my own hours. The fact of my position is the needs of the city sets my hours.
right.
So, and those are not 40-hour work weeks.
I understand that, but what I'm questioning here, you could work 2 16-hour days on Saturday and Sunday, and 2 4-hour evenings if you wanted to, and the board or anybody in the town would never see you.
But would that make me a successful city manager?
I mean, we would notice that pretty quick.
I know, but it's just,
I mean, at
and I'm not saying you'll do it, I'm just
But you're,
questioning why the wording is
well,
in
you're,
here.
Alderman, you're taking a rational statement and stretching it to the point where it's irrational. No, in all reality, I can't work 2 16-hour weeks or 2 16-hour days on the weekend and a couple of 4-hour days and say, I'm done. Because the needs of the city dictate that won't work.
I'm not saying you would do that, but if you did, there's, by the way this reads, there's nothing the board could do anything about, if you decided to do that.
If a frog had wings, as an old saying goes, we know what that means. But now the man comes in on the time that we have a meeting. He was in here this morning before 8 o'clock. And what time is it now and what time does he get out? And especially last month
I'm
when we
not
had 3
questioning
hours.
his-
Wait, let me speak.
I'm
And
not
so,
questioning his job performance or anything like that, I'm just talking about the reading of the way this contract is.
you're reading
the
between
wording
the
is-
lines, is what you're doing.
But that's all I have.
But I can tell you this, because I'm down here a lot, and he works more than 40 hours a week, I can tell you that. Already. And Sue's back there shaking her head because she's here in this building.
Mr. Peavy, can I get on section 12, under the amendments section, is that something, if an issue like that was to arise that needed to be addressed,
Yeah.
that this can be amended at any time?
That would be
This is
a
a
an
living
appropriate
document.
amendment.
Okay, that's a
Yeah.
good point right there.
And if I could, I have located the 2 mistakes, that there's the bottom of section 7, it says her. I'm missing an O in our third whereas, that last line there, so if we do pass it, we'll pass it with those corrections, input, and I'll fix that, so.
But one more question. What do we do if all the other town employees request to have a severance package?
Well, we'd have to vote on it. It takes the whole board to vote.
Well, I think that is also kind of what Alderman Gibson was speaking to, that this is,
But, I'd like to extend it to all employees because this board has discussed the possibility in the future of eliminating 4 positions in town.
I'll make the motion to extend it to all employees, all full-time employees.
and we've already
Well,
got
we
a
can't
motion
do
and a
that,
second
we've
on
got a
the floor.
motion and a second.
It goes back to the industry standard thing. I mean, it's an industry standard for the manager to have it. It's not for all of the employees. I mean, this is not something that we're just, pulling out of, trying to give any type, like I said, it's not an incentive even to Mike. This is something that we should have already done when he was hired. He should have been offered this piece of paper when he was hired.
Right.
I think if this would have been done when he was hired, we wouldn't have had these conversations for the last 3.5 years. So it's one of those times where it's been clearly proven time after time that the citizens have voted that for people who are in favor or see the city manager position.
I bet you there's not a citizen out there, right there, that would won't see him gone, because he holds this town together right now.
It's just been historically proven that that's the case. So if Mike was to leave, it's not like the city manager position just leaves with it. Another city manager comes in and takes its place if we're lucky enough to find one. And if that day comes, we're going to need every tool available to try to recruit someone because of the way that it's been handled previously. So this
Yeah.
is a bare minimum of something that we need to be able to offer, our current city manager and any future city managers that might come into place.
And this will stop the harassment that he's had.
I can't speak to that. I wish that, you could write a piece of paper to stop that, things of that nature, but that fortunately doesn't work that way. But I do think it provides, some financial security for an employee and some peace of mind for, the chain of command of the employees.
Where I disagree with section 6 is the lump sum, all at once. If it does get dismissed, we have to pay him up front or monthly. I prefer to monthly myself, and a lump sum.
If anything, you should be given that. Do we have it where it be an option, or is that?
You said that she'll otherwise agreed on from the employees or employers.
Well, you have to put the money back anyway for your salary for the whole year anyway.
I know, but a lump sum all at once, it makes a difference.
It wouldn't make any
It
financial.
would already be budgeted for, because his salary is already budgeted for.
Okay.
Yeah, so it should,
It
it
would
It
should.
wouldn't affect it.
Would it likely be cleaner for the accounting books for it to be lump sum versus continue to keep him on payroll?
Administratively, it's probably easier than lump sum, but,
It's all gonna go there eventually anyway, so.
But it wouldn't be an unexpected
Okay, I
factor.
can agree. A lump sum's quite a bit at one time, or what I was looking at.
But all the employees budgeted, when we do budget,
Yeah,
work
but
on budget,
6 months, what's
it's
paid
in
at once,
there.
that's quite a
The only
bit.
time that'd make a difference, like in May or June, right after budget change time would be the only time that it could affect the money.
But, right now, we're setting good.
But again, I think it needs to be reminded that this is only if something happens that's neither not for cause or, a voluntary resignation, things of that nature. This is just if we abruptly decide to terminate the city manager position or, just decide to let him go without cause. So it's not that it's even, if Mike moves on, that it's, we're shelling out money. It's just a matter of if we decide, or if the board decides to, to no longer have that city manager position, and that would, affect his employment. So that's the only time really that, these type of things would even come into play.
Well, we need to take a vote.
Any more
then.
discussion?
Any more discussion? Okay, we need to take a vote. Roll call, please.
Alderman Mindy Fleischauer,
Yes.
Alderman John Gibson.
Yes.
Alderman Jim Gill,
No.
Alderman Stephen McLean,
No.
Alderman Darby Patrick,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Teresa Monk,
Yes.
Mayor Pat Still.
Yes. Signed, severed, sealed, and delivered.